So, family, phase two. We are here, part two, once again from Transformation Greatness in the Small Business Network podcast. This is going to be episode 54 and part two. Apparently, with part one, it seems like as far as that the social media gods, they weren't playing nice, and it seemed like that Murphy's Law was actually at our doorstep, right? It happens, it's all good. But now we're back on here with part two, and I believe as far as that we have everything all situated with, so you guys can come on board, come on back here, don't be estranged here. And of course, you know the usual, but if this is your first time attending, do me a favor. If you're catching us on the live, then put in the hashtag live and let us know exactly where you're all tuning from. And if you should be having to catch this as far as on a replay because you are, out and about, on calls, you're making things happen, then put in the hashtag replay and go ahead and put the same thing in. So we're going to go ahead and make this rock. And Aimee, I sent to you as far as the notification. So yeah, she goes here. Okay, she wants to be on video. So here we go. And we're going to go ahead and accept Aimee. Add her to the mix. It should connect. And we're going to go ahead and get this show rocking and rocking and rocking. And see, look at that. Through the power of social media and through the gods, right? They decided to make it happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, enough talk from me, right? You heard enough from me. But now we have someone here that is a coach extraordinaire. She uses her intuition and many different skill sets and gifts to really amaze and inspire her clients. She is someone in which we are part of several different communities, and it's an absolute honor and privilege to bring aboard the star of the show, yours truly, Miss Aimee Carlson, hailing all the way from Montana, cowboy country. Somebody, come on now, give it up, guys. Give it up. Come on, give it up, guys. Give it up. Give it up. Come on now.
Thank you, Sean.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And for your perseverance with getting me on here. I thought I was doing all the right things, but you're amazing. And I just want to say too, I mean, what an introduction. Like, I'm just like, as you're introducing me, my heart is just filled. So that says a lot about you too. Thank you for all that you do and how you show up. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I definitely do appreciate that. But this is all about you. This is your moment here, right? So this is what we love about the Small Business Network podcast, because as an entrepreneur, we understand the power of visibility and of being heard and really having different audiences. And this is what it's all about. So I know you, but a lot of our listener audience may not know who you are. So would you like to introduce yourself to the listener audience?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the visibility, that's a big piece of it, isn't it? And I was just kind of marking how not that long ago, I was so shy and embarrassed, like to do something like this. And so I'm noting my own progress. So Aimee Carlson, yes, I am in Montana, and I've been a certified life coach for like 22 years, but I wasn't in business all that time. So I started off as a teacher. When I was a kid, I was either going to be a teacher or an astronaut.
Right.
And I went with the teacher. Teaching, the reason I got into that was because I have always been curious about human potential, like watching people and seeing, watching people go far and do these things. And I've always wondered, like, what is that? I want that. How does that work? And that's why I got into teaching. And so leading into coaching then, and I call myself midlife mindset mentor and a soulful community builder. I really love the feeling of community, the feeling of support, coming together, with the intention of uplifting.
Interesting. Oh, now I know as far as with the questions in which that we went over, You have a pretty good understanding of that. But I'm a type of person, I like to keep people on their toes, right? So I like to throw a monkey wrench, if you will. So I'm going to ask you a question. In terms of your brand and your calling, when it comes to human behavior, because I'm also a fan of human behavior, plus many of our members, many of us from the listening audience, what is it about human behavior that fascinates Aimee?
That's a great question. So, you see different people and things that we've experienced ourselves too. Like, what is it that trips us up? What is it that keeps us going? And those moments of decision that we can decide to look down or look up, and that's what really does fascinate me. And to almost even watch somebody as something is occurring and witness, like the wheels turning and the
Right,
light in their
right.
eyes and the spark in, the fire in their belly to continue to move forward. That's really what just fascinates me.
Hmm, interesting. So let me ask you this, Aimee. When you engage with your clients, what strategies or modalities in which that you use to help them create the results or the breakthroughs or the insights that they're looking to achieve?
That's a good question too. Um, one of the biggest things that I have found that moves people in the direction they want to go the quickest is softening, like practicing with them to soften their self-judgment.
Okay.
So often we are so hard on ourselves, and that usually doesn't actually motivate us. And so to start to practice with people, um, less, just judging themselves less. And as soon as they start to do that, they become more and more aware of catching themselves quicker, and they see progress, and then they see that they're not judging other people, and they see progress with relationships and how their jobs are going and how their finances are going. And so that has become my step one when I
Okay.
work with people.
Okay. So you work on the self judgment. So would you say self judgment that's like pretty much a core self limited belief for a lot of individuals?
Yeah, yeah. I That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Okay. So in your experience as well, when it comes to that, because you work with the self judgment, right? What else that you notice when you're working with your clients that may be a stumbling block to help them, reach the next level?
Well, another thing that so I've been working more in group coaching. I do one-on-one, but I've been doing more with group coaching, and the interactions that they start, as they feel, as they build the trust and they feel like they're in a safe space,
Right.
the ways that they help one another and support one another. And each time we get on a call, they're asking each other questions about, oh, did you follow through with that? And did you do that? Um, it is like the power of that momentum in the group.
Right.
It has really amazed me. And so um, that has been the other piece that I feel like has allowed people to, as they're moving away from self-judgment, they're also seeing reflected back to them
Mm,
how these other people really believe in them.
right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a beautiful experience as well. Yeah, I've been seeing that even with working as far as like with my clients because I really don't do group coaching right now at this moment. I definitely plan on to, but for me, I just love the one-on-one, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just something about that intimate setting, that intimate space when you do one-on-one with someone because they don't have to feel like, well, if I say something, the others is looking at me, right? That self-judgment again.
Yeah.
But having that one-on-one conversation where you provide that safe haven and you guys can really start working on certain things and really start to what's the word I'm looking for? Work through that armor, right? Start putting
Yeah.
chinks as far as in the armor, and it's just a beautiful thing, definitely a beautiful thing to say the least. What
Yes.
inspired you to even go down this path, this road? I know you said as far as like with being a teacher is something that you always you always had a fascination for, right? And with human behavior. But at what point was it for you, Aimee, that you said, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is my path. This is my career, and I love it. When did that happen?
Well, I saw it coming. I was working my regular job, and I saw it coming as my kids were getting older. Um, and I didn't want to be one of those moms too that as they were leaving the nest that, like I'm chasing after them to try to, you know,
Right.
um, and I thought I really want to get involved in something that is like wholehearted for me. And so it just so happened in 2020, in January, I turned 50, and that was a big, moment for me. And then the pandemic hit, and really it was like, why not now?
Mm,
And so it was kind of those couple of big milestones, big things, one of them global and one of them very personal,
right.
that made me or helped me decide, why not now? If everything's turning upside down anyway, why not now?
Ooh, that was powerful. Can you say that again? Can you say that again? That last part you
Yeah,
just said.
yeah. If everything's turning upside down anyway, why not now?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was powerful right there. For all those that's in attendance, excuse me, welcome once again to Transformation Greatness in the Small Business Network podcast. Here at episode 54, we have here Coach Extraordinaire, Miss Aimee Carlson, hailing all the way from Cowboy Country, somebody, Montana. I'm surprised here, Aimee, and I touched on this as far as on the previous video. I'm amazed that there's no questions that people have. Hmm, very interesting. But I'm pretty sure, as people are absorbing this content, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have some questions. But I'm just surprised at that, right? Because anytime you hear from a coach, you know, I'm pretty sure, like for me personally, right, if I was watching as far as your live stream or with Jasmine or with Tammy or with Dr. James or Chrissy, I'm gonna want to ask questions. Why? Because as a student, I want to learn. I want to get better, right? There's some things in which that you are sharing that I may not even know, right? So I just want to learn. I just want to grow, right? And that's something as being an entrepreneur, we're also students as life as well. Do you agree or disagree with that? Obviously, because you love teaching, so.
Totally. Yeah. I, every day learning something new from my clients, from my kids,
Right.
from a book, from other entrepreneurs, just everywhere. More to learn.
Bam, we have a question here.
Oh, great.
Brother Troy says, does self-judging affect sense of lacking? Ooh, that's a good question.
Does self-judging affect a sense of
Sense
lacking?
of lacking,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, I would think so. I feel like it does. Adds to that feeling of, mm, how sometimes without even thinking it, we think, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's something lacking with
Mm,
me. I have this certain limitation. And so I think that's really at the core of self-judgment, is that we feel like we're not measuring up in some way. Yeah.
yeah, and
Great
that's
question.
yeah, and that's interesting too because since we live so much in the information and technology age. I mean, you can literally get information within a matter of seconds. As opposed, I remember growing up because I was born in '77, so my time was like in the '80s and '90s, and I remember during that time, right? If you wanted to learn information, it would either be through TV or you had to read the newspaper, right? And it wasn't just so simple as just jumping on the computer and boom, you got it, right? No, 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 no. You had to do it the old-fashioned way. You had to get a book, you had to do your research, right? You had to really inquire. And nowadays with so much which is going on, you got so many social media avenues and so many people telling you as far as on how you should think and how you should feel and how you should look and how you should dress and all this stuff. And so no wonder, it's so many people that, and guys, you don't have to believe me. You can literally go outside your door and literally come across 10 to 20 people and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So many individuals that's just walking with a spirit of like of self-judgment, of like, that sense of lack, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can literally see it. And it doesn't matter where you're at as far as in the country or in the world, it's prevalent because of that, right? So that is, to me, self-judgment. And that's definitely a core, one of the cores. But what else do you think as far as that can really derail a person or stop a person, Aimee, from really reaching that next level, in your professional and humble opinion?
Well, I think it goes along with what you were just saying and with self-judgment, that looking for that external validation. So anytime, and this has happened in my life too, anytime, excuse me,
Sure.
that I am so focused on what the opinions are outside of me,
Right.
um, it will stop me in my tracks. Then I go into that doubt, which I think is related to the
Right.
judgment,
Right.
and then I don't take action. And so it's, as you were saying about, there's so much outside of us going on, um, and anytime we start to compare, I think that's a big one. Comparison can really derail us quickly. When, in my opinion, we have an inner knowing of, you know, what's next for us, or um, what those answers are. I think we really have them inside of us. We have just learned to kind of silence that and look
Mm,
for those answers outside of us.
right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Aimee, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, by the way, guys, this is definitely a great interview. If you have any other questions for Coach Extraordinaire, please put your questions in the comment section. I'm sitting here thinking, right? And everything what you're saying is correct. I love your spirit. I love as far as your posture, right? Your presence, very calming. But I'm also thinking too, why now? Why, with everything in which that why not just keep it as far as for your clients and just say, well, I'm just going to serve my clients and not, look to help anyone else, right? And you can do that. You can be selfish, right? But why is it important for you to be able to reach out to more people, right? And to be able to really share your insights and your experiences? Why?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
now?
Well, I think you would agree with this, is like, when you put, a log on the fire and then another log, and the fire starts to build and there's more and more light. um, it's just a natural thing that you you want to, with that light, with that fire, you want more people to experience it.
Correct.
So the more I learn, the more people I coach, the more I continue to grow, the more I want to share. And it doesn't make it quieter, it makes it louder and bigger, that I want, um, that to ripple out. However, it doesn't have to all come through me, but I want it to ripple out. And yeah, I think that there was a time in my life where I felt, you know, more resistance, or
Mm,
and I just felt more, oh, just kind of live a quiet life. And not that there's anything wrong with a quiet life,
right.
but there was also something that I really wasn't tuning into inside of me. So the more that
Mm,
I've started to tune into that, the more that it's just like that light gets brighter. And your heart is just, how can I be of value? How can I be of service? And just continue to follow that every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And which brings to mind, I think you answered the question already. What can a person do, Aimee, that wants to really achieve, the goals and dreams, right? They have aspirations, right? They know they have ideas that they can bring to the universe, that they can help so many people, but yet that doubt keeps creeping up, right? That anxiety, that self-judgment, right? Well, if I say this, if I put this out there, then what will people think, right? What do you tell an individual like that, or what do you recommend? Is there a particular strategy that you provide to them that can help them start to retrain their brain, right, and retrain that what's the word I'm looking for? That paradigm, that thinking that's been pretty much been with them pretty much since childhood.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it really starts with, proximity, who we are around.
Okay.
And so if we can start to shape that a little bit to find that support. So if there's something new that you want to try, I'll just bring up this idea because this is something I want to do too.
Okay.
Let's say you want to write a book, and maybe some of the people around you, they're not familiar with writing a book. So you need to expand your um, network of people to include someone that has written a book, someone that has made it possible, and then you start to believe it's possible. And so this proximity of people, the support around you. Another big one is accountability. I know
Mm-hmm.
for myself that there are many things I would not get done if I didn't have accountability partners, or
Correct.
even meet with people on Zoom and say, hey, let's sit down. We each got different things to work on, but we're going to, use this as a co-working time.
Yep.
Um, and there's a great visual that I like to use from the book called The One Thing. And
Okay.
it talks about, just moving that one domino, that first domino. And so each day I think about, I've got like, over here is my big goal, but what can I do today? That one thing that's going to tip that one domino so that I don't get too overwhelmed.
Correct. Correct. Right. Yeah, I love it. I'm very familiar with that because the way I equate that is this. If you focus on getting better at least 1% each and every single day, by the time the end of the year has came around, you get done improved by 365%.
Yeah.
That's a great way of looking at it instead of just trying to bite the apple all in one big chunk. Just do it little by little by little by little by little. And Troy, he mentioned it right on point. He said, "Love it. Five closest people you are aligned to you." Yeah, definitely. He wants to know what's the name of your book, or
Ooh,
or the
well,
name of the book. I'm sorry. Excuse
oh,
me.
the name of the book
Yeah,
that I just was talking about,
correct.
it's called The One Thing.
The one thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Aimee, how can anyone get a hold of you if they want to be able to inquire more as far as with your services or even collaborate with you on projects or whatever have you? Because we have many different kinds of people that come on board and listen as far as to our podcast. So how can I get a hold of you?
So my website is sheforcecoach.com, and same way on Instagram, sheforcecoach. And then on Facebook, I mostly post on my personal page, but I also have a business page on there. And those would be the main ones. I'm also on LinkedIn. And yeah, I love to collaborate. So if anyone ever has, oh, there's Taylor. If anyone ever has any, collaborations you want to do, I love that. And also, if there's any other way that I might be of service to you, please reach out. I'm going to start a book club too from all of these books that have been inspiring to me. I thought, ooh,
As you
Maybe
should.
we'll have like a monthly book club just to kind of bask in that wisdom.
Count count me into that. Absolutely. I'm a student. I'm an avid student. So believe me, if I was to flip my camera, you see how many books I got, and that's just for me to start, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
my collection is not complete till I have like way over like 300, 400, even 500 books, right? And you know what inspired me with that with Bob Proctor seeing his library, like, oh goodness, like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah.
Before we go ahead and conclude here, I just want to see if anybody has any other questions. We have here Taylor, Lachey in the building. Welcome, sister. Welcome, welcome,
Yes.
welcome. Brother Troy says, count me in for the book clubs. Awesome, awesome. This is an amazing interview, by the way. And I do have one question. There's an individual, Aimee, that's watching this right now. They may be at a low point in their life. They may be at a crossroads, excuse me, I can't speak now. Crossroads, where they don't know whether they're going left or right. And they're watching this and they're saying, okay, Sean, Aimee, this sounds great. This sounds amazing. I'm happy for you guys. But you don't know you don't know what I'm going through, right? I got so much going on right now that I don't even know even where to start. And I can't relate to what you guys got going on right now. You guys got it made. You, Dr. James, Chrissy, all you guys, Taylor, Troy. I can't relate to you guys. You guys are like on the next stratosphere. And I don't know if I got what it takes, right? What would you say to that individual? And I want you to face the camera while I take me some water as well. I want you to face the camera and I want you to address to that individual. What would you say to him or her that's in front of you thinking like that? Take it away.
Yeah. Well, I find that even if 1 minute, first thing in the morning, first thing when you wake up, if you can allow yourself to breathe in and out and think one thought that makes you feel good and breathe in and out and do that first thing every morning for a month. And so only 1 minute, the very first minute that you wake up. And if you were to do that, just that one thing, you would notice a difference. You would feel a difference. You would be different in 30 days.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So they can be able to do that and still think negatively throughout the whole entire day, and they would still know it's changed.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, just like you were saying earlier, like these habits that get really wired in our brains, right? Um, they are tricky to shift. And so, that 1 minute at a time can make a difference. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. Um, the other thing is I found that it's like a building the muscle of, yeah, it goes back to the 1% a day. Yeah. Building the muscle of really, like when we ask ourselves or other people, what do you really want out of life?
Correct.
It can be a hard question. It can be like kind of startling
Right.
and kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, just the most basic, the most, yeah, that 1%, the small steps of just starting to ask yourself in the moment, you know, um, even what do I need now? And a lot of times it's something really simple. I need a drink of
True.
water. And just, and then trusting yourself and then giving that to yourself, you know, builds that, yeah, builds that muscle.
I like it. I like it. That's awesome. Before we go ahead and conclude, does anybody have any questions here for Coach Extraordinaire Aimee Carlson? She just done gave you guys nuggets on top of nuggets on top of nuggets on top of nuggets. And I don't know about you guys, but if I was just starting out in this industry, right, I would have like a notebook full of notes. A notebook full. That's how much wisdom and nuggets was just shared here. So just want to try to see here and look at that. I mean, just amazing comments. And
Great
I'm going to go
comments.
back after this is over with, and I'm going to read all these comments because I know it's just absolute magic, absolute magic. So, Aimee, do you have any final words before we go ahead and conclude? Because I want to be respectful of everyone's time as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, number one, the the name of my business is, I named it that to kind of, speaking of self-doubt, to help remind me of, so it's She Force. And it's to help remind me whenever I hear that to lift myself up. So the words you use are, they matter. And the other thing I wanted to share real quick,
Yeah,
my pan over here,
yeah.
let's see, right there, that's how I start my day. And when I come out to my office to work, I go onto that headstander and I stand on my head every day
Hmm.
to remind myself to flip a limiting belief. So when I stand on my head, it makes me think that I'm gonna flip some idea that just hasn't been serving me.
Wow. Wow. That was powerful. I like it. I like it. I like it. So it looks like here, look at that. I mean, so many great comments. I mean, just look at the engagement. I mean, like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. So, guys, this actually concludes episode 54 of Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast with Coach Extraordinaire Aimee Carlson. If you are interested and would like to know more about Aimee and how to get a hold of her, she's definitely going to go ahead and put all her contact information as far as in the comment section. Also, if you're not a friend, please feel free as far as to friend request her as well. And Aimee, we are definitely going to be sharing this on all of our social media platforms, just like I mentioned to you. And also, I'm going to send you the downloaded file copy version as well, so that way you can go ahead and use this content as well. So with that being said, guys, this has been absolutely amazing. I appreciate each and every single one of you. This was definitely worth the wait. Also, too, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking as far as to be interviewed by either myself or one of our amazing co-hosts for the Small Business Network podcast, please feel free to reach out to myself or Dr. James or Chris or any one of our amazing co-hosts here, and we would love to go ahead and make that happen for you because this is our year, 2023. And with that being said, if what we stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, and may God be the glory, and we take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. We appreciate your time as well. Thank you once again, Miss Aimee. Definitely,
Thank
you were
you.
the star of the show. You stole it, you rocked it, you smashed it, and any other superlative that you want to put as well. Totally fine.
Thank
But
you so much. Thanks for all the comments, everyone. And it shows how wonderful this show is and what energy you all bring to this. So thanks for having me.
absolutely, and this is only the beginning. So until the next episode, peace and love, family. Thank you for your time. Good.